accept this coalition?
And made me feel, and Pastor Rob, if I can just take a moment, while we're talking about the Richmond Coalition, very fast, because what we all about is promoting children as well.
Right.
And I just wanted to say something about a young man who has inspired me. Young man by the name of Jordan Pearson. He's 14 years old in 9th grade, and he goes to Meadowbrook High School. He has written a play called Choices. A 9th grader at Meadowbrook High School has written a play called Choices. And why I wanted to advertise this, Doc, is because when I spoke to this young man and I talked to him about his play, he said he was inspired to put this play on because at the end of the day when Thanksgiving comes, he'll be sitting at the table with his family. And something, this is his vision, told him that he wanted to raise funds to feed the homeless. A young man wants to raise funds to feed the homeless. So I'm asking everyone who hears me today that you take the opportunity to see this play. It's called Choices. The play is going to be held November 22nd at the Henrico Theater, 305 East 9 Mile Road. The tickets for the play is $10. And keep in mind that $10 will go to feed the homeless. They will be feeding the homeless at 6th Baptist Church, I believe the day before Thanksgiving. So please support Jordan if you can. What I'm going to do is, I'm hoping that the Richmond Coalition, I haven't spoken to them as of yet, but we will support Jordan in this play. Each of us will purchase a ticket and go to the play. Tickets can be purchased now. His father, Michael Pearson, who's a good man, good friend of mine, he has tickets right now. So you can contact me if you want a ticket. The play is November 22nd. Once we see this play, I'm going to be meeting with this young man. I'm going to be the moderator, as a matter of fact. But I will be meeting with this young man, and hopefully that we don't end the play right there. Let's support him, and let's put this play on, because I want him to be a young member of the Richmond Coalition.
Right.
He goes to Meadowbrook, he'll be good.
Right.
But I don't care where a child goes, we need to support all of our children, and we want the Richmond Coalition to support him in this play, and hopefully we can put it on different places and raise money for scholarships and other things that kids will need to move forward. Thank you, Pastor Rob, but I hope you're ready to set y'all leave you information that we can at least broadcast that and tell people November the 22nd at, I will get the time for you. I'll get back with Pastor Rob and let him know the time.
No problem.
But Jordan Pearson is his name. He's an up-and-coming young man. Y'all going to hear some things from him because we're going to support this man as much as we can. November 22nd, play called Choices. Help him. If you don't get to see the play, call me, Gregory Day. My number is 502-9731, and just give a donation so that we can purchase all that we need to feed the homeless on that day. Thank you.
Phone number again?
My phone number is 804-502-9731. 804-502-9731. I will take $1 from you. Nothing is not acceptable, because any amount you give will help feed the homeless. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. As we get ready to kind of bring to a close, we're not finished by our long shot. I want to at least take some more time, but bring to a close any business as far as it pertains to the Richmond Coalition. This has been a meeting place for that organization, at least by way of radio. And I have opened that up for that business and will continue to do so as I agree with what you all are doing. When you all decide to do different, then I'll disagree with you all. That's it. I have no problem. I don't have like friends, I just don't have too many friends. Because people play too many games.
Yeah,
and I've had many people. The Rock was here before when he got started. People don't know. They were here. I had him on interview first, and when he came in here, I told him to his face, if I ever find out that kids are being mistreated, if I ever find out that there's some crookery going on, then the same way I'm talking for you, I'll be talking against you. I said, until then, I give you the opportunity, because I don't want to, I don't want to destroy someone who may have good intention. Even then, I had my reservations, but I gave people an opportunity. So we present you with these things because these things are not going to be heard on 6, 8, and 12. And I think that the people need to start showing some initiative. Some, we're showing none now. I hate to say it. So some would just be it would just cause catastrophic changes. Just some. It doesn't take a lot. Just a few. Because from just looking at it, relatively speaking, to me, there's none. You have the people here, but then they can't do it because they're leading the charge. They need people. We need regular people. The power is really with the regular people.
Yes.
But nobody sees that. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to see that. They want you to be caught up into their positions of power, forgetting that you put them there, forgetting that you pay them. And this is going on in every auxiliary, from the police on. It's amazing to me. And I'm telling you, this power struggle, or this misappropriation out of funds for the power, it is unbelievable. When I look at an elderly woman getting pounded by the police, I mean, he's standing over top of her and just giving her helicopter blades. I mean, just beating her down. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm a pastor, and I always try to tell people the right thing to do. But I don't know what I would do if my grandmother was being beat by a grown man. As a matter of fact, I got a good idea what I would do. And I'll be honest with you, I will take that bullet behind watching my grandmother be beat on that way. Well, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is this. Well, what did they do? They didn't even fire the man. I'll tell you what they did. They're going to pay the woman's family. And guess who's going to pay?
Taxpayers.
We are. We're going to pay for him to beat the hell out of our grandmother. And I know I got a strange way of looking at things, but whatever. I just don't like to play around with people anymore. I'm not here. I'm not in it. I'm not in with the in crowd. So I'm asking everybody. Since I am a preacher and everybody else has called to their co-laborers and their colleagues, I'm calling to the pastors. Never mind if you like me. Never mind how you feel about me. You got children who parents pay your salary. You have children that make up your churches that will provide whatever future your churches had. I'm saying if you care, come out of that pulpit. I'm saying if you care, take off that robe. And I'm saying stand up to make sure that our children aren't being railroaded, that they aren't being mistreated. I'm asking you to do that, not for me, because I'm not in school any longer. I'm asking you to do that for our children. So that's what I want to say about that. Go ahead, Marty.
That's all we're asking. Just take a risk for kids. Just stand for kids. The heck with us old folks. Just show up Monday night. If you choose not, you don't have to speak. Just take a stand when folks...
There will be strength in numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I sat on city council for 8 years. I can tell you council members tremble in fear when that council chambers is overloaded with a gang of advocacy. We saw what happened when Open High School students led 200 children down City Hall and gave $3.8 million that day in the budget.
That's right.
The power is in the people. All we're asking is that you show up.
Hello.
Just show up. Here's an excellent opportunity to do it if you really care about children. Otherwise, you lying like they lying.
Before you say something great, quick caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Pastor Scott. But it's here where I was listening to the dialogue, and my spirit's going out to Sister Megan Taylor, as well as all warriors that get out there and fight. But y'all have brought it to the final conclusion, which is it lies on the times. See, Mammy, you, Marty, anybody can go out there and fight for me, right? But if I'm not out there concerned about my own child,
Right.
what are you fighting for? And that's what we need to understand is happening here. We're fighting for things that the folks don't want. Think about it. They're talking about rezoning. This should not be Sister Mamie the only one addressing it. Every adult parent in that zoning area should be there, Brother Marty, right?
Yes, sir.
And so when they're showing their disinterest in the rezoning situation, when they're showing their disinterest in the, should we say, the bigotry of the past coming forward into the future, and they're too ignorant to see how they're being excluded it always comes down to what do? You do what Sister Mamie does. She stands on her principles. She stands on her foundation. She expresses where she's at. And that's all she can do. Brother Greg, that's all you can do. And what I have learned in this journey is don't make it personal. Don't make it personal. Be convicted where God got you at. But also, you know what God has said about us. If it was up to God, after the storm, He wouldn't even deal with us anymore because He knows the foolishness is in us. But don't make it personal. What we've learned, and I'll get off quickly, Pastor, the point about city council in reference to procurement. See, we have, it's like a drip, drip, drip. What has happened now is on December 8th, Ma, you can contest this, on December 8th, it will be the first conversation of a master development agreement language. That would define what all of the incentives and all the things that have been put into these packages, such as the authority to have their own business. This is what's going to happen on December the 8th, and that's because people like yourself and others have been drip, drip, drip. So when you get to that point, the people have to show up. So all that to say is, if the community has no issue with the rezoning, y'all have had a great and a blessed fight. But what I've learned is, give the people what they want, because they got to bottle in it before they realize what's really going on. Y'all take care and continue to struggle.
Right, thank you.
Brother Earl.
And Brother Earl, just to piggyback on that, you're absolutely right. We need the parents out, and parents need to understand as well. When we don't see what's happening, just to let everybody know, Mamie Taylor spoke with me, and Mamie has already started looking at the lines of rezoning so she can have the information to share. Now, we're saying the parents may not come out, but when she's ready to share information, you need to find out where you can get that information from. She's working already on the rezoning, looking at the lines, what school's going to be rezoned, because it was already stated in the Richmond Times Disgrace, the lines, the boundaries, all that has been shown. Go back and read your newspaper for, I believe it was Sunday, I think it came out on Sunday, where Zachary put in the newspaper about the boundaries and the lines. And Mamie called me quickly and said, Greg, I'm ready to work on this. I might need you all to take a look at this to make sure I got it. You know, what she has is correct, because she said the line's there. We just need to have a jump on it so she can let her constituents, let her people know who will be affected so they can come to the
So
meeting.
you're looking to having an actual outline, a guide, some kind of, something material, something they can look at and get a pinpoint idea, I guess,
What's
of who's
important-
going to be affected, because, you know,
What's important, Pastor, is that this process involves alternative plans. When they spring a plan on you and you oppose it, you rarely can win just saying no. What we need to do is proffer a plan that's pleasing to us, and let those two plans or more compete.
okay.
But just saying no in politics don't get you there. I guarantee you that. So we got to come up with our own alternative. And we need to do it early. So we invite everybody. This is important business, y'all. We need the public to get in this one.
And you know what, they made a good point, Earl made a good point. You know, I'm looking in this circle right here. I don't know everybody's personal life, but to my knowledge, I don't think anyone in this room has any biological children in the city schools right now.
No, long ago.
My son goes to school
I got grandkids.
way out in Glen Island. I got one, 7-year-old.
Right.
And so, but that's besides the point. Now, what about you and your children? We're going there, will you meet us? Will you help us? Will you share it with somebody? And that's where we're going to go from there. So, yet again, we've given you the information. We've provided you with the facts. Now we can get off the decoy, the diversion of Mamie Taylor. And we can get back to why they want to bring this up. They already told you. This is what we're going to sum it up here. They already told you Mamie didn't do anything. They told you that. We didn't tell you that. Right? They told you first. We just came back to remind you. Okay? So now let's get to the issues of why they want to bring a smoke screen. So that you, the viewer, you that are watching, will begin to believe that she has no credibility and that she's one that is not going to help your children. I've seen it done in every level of politics. And I'll tell you this. Today was an excellent day so far. I'm going to officially close this segment if there's nothing else. I have another brother that's here too. I don't know if anything he would like to say.
No,
Okay.
not today.
Okay, not today, but again, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Who's from the coalition, and I want to, and everybody's welcome to stay or whatever they want to do is fine. But I'm only doing that because I want to make sure that we close out official coalition business and separate it. Go ahead, I'm going to give you a chance to finish anyway, but I want to make sure everybody understands that in a minute. I'm going to take a few minutes, even though I'm really almost done. I'm going to do this. Chris, I'm going to ask you, and we're going to comment a little bit about Veterans Day. And I want to do that before we go. And this is no bearing on your time today because you're going to come back again. And we'll rock out. Don't worry about that. But this was important to me. And it's important to me. And it's going to be important to me. And I've been informing my church what's going on to the best of my ability and letting them know and letting the people know that I come in contact with and pushing them to get involved with this. Everybody was so busy pushing voting and doing this, that, and the third. Well, I'd rather push my time into this. That's just my personal opinion. And I have my own reasons why. Because at least I can go down there and touch Mamie Taylor. At least I know Mamie Taylor can say what I want her to say.
Right.
And I can hold Mamie Taylor to say what I want her to say. That means more to me than this illusion choice that you all have when most of you all vote. So I'll just say that. And Gabe, close me out with this. And if you want to come back and say that, then after that I want to just end it because it is Veterans Day about just maybe getting a word about Veterans Day. Go ahead, Dan.
My close out is just to thank you, Pastor Rob, again. Last time we were here, you helped us promote our back to school rally, the Richmond Coalition for Quality Education. You helped us promote that. You put it on the air, and I just wanted to thank you because in the end, you were the only one who helped us to promote this. As far as putting it on the air, I heard it when I was at work. But we received a lot of school supplies, and we were able to service over 200 children with our back to school rally. We have not had an opportunity to be back here at the table to thank you for helping us do that. Marty, we had Staples who gave us plenty of supplies. We had so many supplies, Pastor, I tell you this. And my wife got so mad with me because I had the supplies on my table and broke my dining room table in half. But anyway, I just wanted to close out with that. Richmond Coalition, we're about business and we're about helping the children of Richmond Public Schools. Not only that, any children that come to us, they're in school. I don't care where they are. And we just want to thank everybody for doing that. We had Susan Martin, just trying to call some names, who graciously blessed us with supplies. My family who blessed me with supplies. So we just want to say thank you and thank you again. And we will be happy. My job who poured out everything they had to help us with this rally.
Your job is
Luckstone Corporation. And we will be having another school rally next year. It's going to be annual, and we will come back to you, and hopefully we'll have it even bigger. Thank you again, Pastor Rob, for all you've done for this coalition this year.
Thank you all. And I want to take this time to then extend the thanks to Preston Brown. I want to thank Preston Brown for enabling us to sit on the air this long. I want to thank him for letting us say what the heck we want to say. And I want to thank him for taking the rap forward because he doesn't have to. He could very easily well be in bed with all the people we're talking about, and he could shut this down very easily. Many have complained to him about this type of talk, and he catches it. As a matter of fact, the last time we were on the air, some folks called immediately before I could get out of the door. I'm not going to mention their names, but very, very well-known individuals. The only reason I'm not going to mention them is because it's second-hand information, not my information. But they called right away saying, I can't believe y'all said this, man, and they were feeling the heat. So people listen to this. And I want y'all to know, a lot of people pretend like they don't listen to the show because they don't want to feel like they are falling under the heat. Right. They listen to the show. I'm telling you what I know without a shadow of a doubt. I've seen them call, I've seen them blackball, I've seen letters written, I've seen it all. And I say it's well worth it if our children could be helped, if the people can be brought into the knowledge. And so I want to thank Preston Brown. for allowing me the opportunity. I want to thank him for allowing us the opportunity. And that he's still helping, even though he didn't get elected, he's still working.
Still working.
And that's where you see, you know, that's where the heart is. So I want to thank him for that. And I want to thank Marty Jewell again for coming on, sharing with us yet again another opportunity. I want to thank the Richmond Coalition again for bringing this to us, bringing this information to this particular vehicle, that it might get to the people. And I want to thank the people, because I know you're going to come out on Monday, November the 17th. As a matter of fact, I want to prove that this radio broadcast is effective by the increase of people that will show up on Monday at 6 o'clock. And you don't have to say nothing. We just want to see you there in numbers. You heard Marty Jewell just say he served 8 years, and he said he can tell you firsthand, people do care that people are standing out there.
Yes,
it
sir.
bothers some people. And I said, this is my rendition of what he just said. They're already cowards, many of them. And they fold depending on whatever pressure or whatever is there anyway. So let's present our own pressure, a good pressure, to do what's right. And that's what we ought to stand upon.
Pastor, I got to correct you. I don't know why we keep saying Monday the 17th.
That's not the subject.
It's Monday the 16th.
The 16th.
Monday the 16th.
Thank you.
School board said 17.
And thank you.
Well,
Let's take this quick call and then I'm going to come and get some words regarding Veterans Day. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for tuning in.
Well.
I was just about to say your name. Go ahead.
I just got a meeting late to do with late. So, but I heard the call from home 17. Y'all did a marvelous job. But I must say to all those who are listening, we got to get up our rumps and do something. And if we don't be a part of this rezoning this time, they're going to zone our kids out of Richmond Public Schools.
Yeah.
Right down to Oliver Hill Way.
Come on.
So we must get up off our and get involved. If I'm just not saying they're going to do what they want to do anyway. I only can do what I want to do when you allow me to do what I want to do. I'm tired of talking. We got to do the work. And let's be proactive and let's make this thing happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I received that. That's good today. Pastor, good to hear your voice today. Anything else that you need to, I thought you were going to be here today. I know you couldn't. Anything else you would like to say that wasn't covered or that you would like to reiterate?
Well, I must say, I got to say that Landon Taylor, 50 school board member, is the best, super duper. And it's never to be under-attacked than nobody attacking you, because if nobody attacking you, then you ain't doing
You
nothing.
ain't doing nothing.
We ain't doing that.
Come on,
I'm glad that she is a warrior. I'm glad that she is fighting. I'm glad that she's telling the truth. And now they're saying that, you know, Dr. Reed's reporting that she's rude. She's cutting people off. But some folks need to be cut off because what they're saying ain't important. So they need to be dealt with. So I'm ready to fight along with them. And I think Mamie is the best. And it's a great day. Marty Jewell. And tell who's now, stop sitting back there talking, you know, like I've nothing to say. We always got something.
Can't shut him up. I said just today.
All right. You heard him. Anybody has a question?
Throughout history, in our history, black culture, as far back as you want to go, we had a rally and cry. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. We said, I'll work my finger to the bone. I'll endure any necessary hardship so that my children might have better than me. That has always been a part of our creed. And if we can't stand up for children now, then it speaks to something larger than that. That we have just gone dead in the soul. We just died in our soul, and all of Sunday morning, churching and preaching and everything else is a waste of time when you go to church on Sunday and your spirit is on E come Monday. Something wrong. You practicing a damn religion. Something ain't right. And so I'm urging all of us who claim to be Christians, you've got a moral obligation to support these children. That's our job. And so that's all I can say. We'll see Monday.
I just received another message somebody sent me just now saying if they're talking about November 17th, 2014, that is Monday. November the 16th is on a Sunday.
November 17th.
I don't want no calendar, I don't have a calendar. I'm just telling you what it was celebrated.
It's November
It was a Monday. All right, so the correct date is November 17th, Monday, November 17th.
Right.
All right. If y'all forget the date, just be there this Monday. Please, please just get that stuff. I got a feeling we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. But let's get that straight. We want to. I'm gonna take this time to officially close this Richmond Coalition business, and I'm gonna hit the gavel and say, job well done on that. And I want it, Chris. I want, if you could, before we go. I know that the day has been well spent, but I'm going to say this. If you could, and I'm going to bring this up. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but today, but I'm going to play it again. I heard a disturbing message. I saw one of the brothers from the Nation of Islam come in a minute ago, from the Nation, and I wanted to catch him. And but I think he's gone. He left some time ago. But I saw something that was interesting in wake of Veterans Day. And what I saw was a clip that I wanted to play. I'm going to get your thoughts on it. And we're going to go after that and we'll come back and finish our work. But I want to say this. I saw a clip of Louis Farrakhan. Okay, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Blasting President Obama is what the clip said. And I thought this was interesting. Because we all know that Minister Farrakhan had tried his best to support President Obama in coming into office. He's now blasting President Obama, according to this clip, because he's saying that President Obama is actually an assassin. He called President Obama an assassin. And I wanted to get your views, to all of you out there, on President Obama. I'm going to play this quick clip. I want y'all to listen to it well. And I'll come back and talk about it another day, but I want to get Chris to tell me about Veterans Day, and we're going to let him close out, even though we're going to finish. Here's the clip that brought it literally had me in awe. This is Minister Louis Farrakhan referring to President Obama as an assassin. Now, you gotta listen to why.
Now you can stay in Buckingham Palace. Nobody stayed here. Just a few presidents. Why here? Why? See, we know this enemy. Satan deceived the whole world. See, America can sit down tyrants, but who will sit her down? She puts her trust in her weapons of war. She threatens the nations of the earth. And here's my brother calling for the assassination of Brother Muammar Gaddafi. What has he done? I can defend that man. You don't know that man. See, you're a victim of that media that's controlled by satanic forces. They said they were only going over there for humanitarian reasons. We're going to stop Gaddafi from killing his own people, and we believe that. You've been deceived. You talk about a man killing his own people when you lied to the American people, saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. When you lie and then take innocent young men who come to serve their country, send them to die. In Afghanistan, over lives, there's a murderer in the White House. You're saying.
Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop this clip for a minute. You just heard it. He said, who's going to say it? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just said, who will say it? We have a is surprising to some because he has endorsed and tried to support, as he stated, his brother. Now, here's the response. I want you to hear how Barack, President Obama, I want you to hear how he speaks about Minister Farrakhan. And then I'm going to turn it over and get to my point.
Support that I sought, and we're not doing anything, I assure you, formally or informally with Mr. Farrakhan. He rejected support. Well, Tim, I can't say to somebody that he can't say that he thinks I'm a good guy. I have been very clear in my denunciations of him and his past statements, and I think that indicates to the American people what my stance is on those comments. The problem some voters may have is, as you know, Reverend Farrakhan called Judaism gutter religion. I think I'm very familiar with his record as the American people. That's why I have consistently denounced it. This is not something new. This is something that I live in Chicago. He lives in Chicago. I've been very clear in terms of me believing that what he has said is reprehensible and inappropriate, and I have consistently distanced myself from him. The title on your book is stating a principle.
No, I'm just saying that you asked specifically if you would reject it.
This is Hillary Clinton, by the way.
There's a difference between denouncing and rejecting to this sort of, inflammatory. I have no doubt that everything that Brock just said is absolutely sincere, but I just think we've got to be even stronger. Don't let anyone in any way say these things because of the implications that they have, which can be so far-reaching.
I don't say that denouncing it. There's no formal offer from Minister Farrakhan that would involve me rejecting it. But if the word reject, Senator Clinton feels is stronger than the word denounce, then
I'm going to stop it there. If you didn't hear him, he said, if you want me to say I reject him, I'll go ahead and say it. That's basically what he's saying. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because it's Veterans Day. And I sat on this radio station years ago when everybody was screaming and they kicked me out of the group. I was never in, but they put me out. And I told all of you black folks first, and then everybody else was listening, I told you what would happen when you put your confidence into this black man. Even before Minister Farrakhan is now told you that he's an assassin, I told you first. Now y'all got mad with me. Y'all got mad with Pastor Rock. Now, Minister Farrakhan, now listen, the moment he rejected Minister Farrakhan, he had to. He had to. He clearly, he wanted no attachment to Minister Farrakhan, which is his decision. But I find it funny that politics, or politicians, those so-called politicians, I find it funny they pick and choose when they're going to stand up and make a stand or take a stand on something. I say all that to say this. I told y'all, and everybody's upset. But I'm going to get Chris Dorsey to tell me real quick, and I'm going to get him to talk to the people, spend a few minutes, and then we have to go, but in a few minutes, just to talk about Veterans Day and what it means to you. I'm going to walk my guests out here, but Chris, I need you to tell the people what is on your heart regarding, and what is on your heart, what is true about Veterans Day, because I just, it blew me away. And how many people get mad at me because I will not jump into bed with what I saw. I saw it, man, I saw it a country mile. I saw it, and I told the people what would happen. I told them what's going on. There's so much stuff going on that we're going to talk about next Tuesday. And I only want to do this as an advertisement, as a commercial for what we're going to talk about next week, because I want to talk about what this nation is really doing. I want to talk about the media. I want to talk, because all day we've been seeing crooked media. I want to talk about the media. I want to talk about the biological warfare, Ebola. I want to talk about all of the AIDS and everything else that they've been doing, the false flags. I want to talk about the digital TV. I want to talk about it all. But since it's Veterans Day, I would like to leave on this note, and I appreciate your patience Chris, and that was very important to me. Chris, Veterans Day, what does it mean? The microphone is yours.
Thank you, Pastor Rob. It's all very important. It all connects together. It makes a circle. Just to state what's really going on is that Barry Soetoro, also known as Barack Obama, and George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton, and George H.W. Bush, and Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, etc. They're all puppets. Some of them are higher level than other American presidents, but they are puppets, as are the Congress, to the international banking cartel that controls everything that the government does. And in the United States, that's done through something called the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a privately owned bank. So, just to segue into Veterans Day with that background information of all the governments of the world being controlled by an international interlocking and coordinated banking cartel made up of central banks that are owned and operated by the same people, whether it's the Bank of Russia, the Bank of China, or the Federal Reserve Bank. They're all controlled by something called the Bank for International Settlements. And the Bank for International Settlements was formed in 1930. And it was formed to fund and create a military arms race amongst all nations: Germany, Japan, United States, Great Britain. They were all financed by this particular bank. So when one talks about Veterans Day and says that the veterans and the armed forces keep us safe and protect our freedom, I say that is completely invalid. This is no longer the land of the free and the home of the brave because the law has been violated. This is now the land of the feed and the home of the caged because of persons, I should say. I should correct myself. They're not people when they're in the military. They are persons. They are citizens. And they carry out the will of the Bank for International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, the International Global Oil and Energy Cartel. Every international industry is what the American military serves. And I would just further state that this is not, just conjecture that I'm making up. This is not my information. This is fact. Look up the words Bank for International Settlements on an internet search. Look up the term Basel III on an internet search. One will find that Basel III is the agreement that all the central banks of the world, from the Bank of Russia to the Bank of China to the Bundesbank to the Federal Reserve Bank to the Bank of Canada to the Bank of Israel, they all operate under those rules, and they're all financed by the same individuals. And that money it goes to finance all sides of all military wars, all military conflict. All sides are funded by the same source. And now, from 1930 on, it has been the Bank for International Settlements, which is the lender of last resorts. This is only logic and rationality. In order to have an international conflict, one must have an international financing arm. It will not work any other way. Look at the current state of so-called Islamic State, ISIS or ISIL, which is really, the letters ISIS stand for Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. It's also the name of a government-funded and internationally funded military intelligence operation that operates out of the Reagan Building in Washington, D.C. So Google search for ISIS Reagan Building, Washington, D.C. You'll find out, all the stuff that was talked about in the first part of the show is very important, but it's symptoms of the problem. We see this over and over again. It's complete corruption in the government, and nobody can deny that claim is very true. Now, why is this? It's because an international banking cartel that wants
discord and wants suffering and wants slavery of the masses controls everything that goes on, especially the international military arm. And I will give evidence for this. Leon Panetta, the head of the Department of Defense, stated in a Senate hearing that the United States Congress, the United States Senate and Congress, they do not control the United States military, that the United States military takes their orders from NATO, and also they take their orders from the United Nations. Now that is in strict violation, and it couldn't be any more of an open violation of treason. Article 3, Section 3 for this guy, Leon Panetta, it was before he's head of the Defense Department, head of the Central Intelligence Agency, to say that the United States military takes their orders from international organizations. But anybody who knows anything already knows that. And who finances the UN and every other government and every other military? It is the banking cartel, in particular, the Bank for International Settlements, which is the lender of last resorts, holds 10% of GDP for 90 different countries, and is owned and owns all of the powerful and all of the private central banks of the world, which includes every nation but North Korea and Iran. They say Cuba, but Cuba is just where they wash all the drug money through. So that's how things work. That's what Veterans Day is. It's not a day to celebrate. If one serves in the United States military, they are not patriotic people. They are against the principles on which America was founded. They are not the heroes and defenders of our freedom. They are the hired guns for international slavery. Thank you. And it's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to be proud of killing innocent children and women and men, for that matter, in other countries for no other purpose than to overthrow their government and steal their oil or carry out the wishes of the Zionist bankers and the Jewish bankers on behalf of Israel.
You know what hurts, Chris? Because, I mean, when I listen to what you're saying, some people would say, oh, he's heartless, oh, but they don't understand that what you're saying, in essence, is you're saying these people, many of them don't know that they're serving this evil purpose. They have been programmed to thinking they're patriotic, they've been programmed to believing. Most of the people who join the service doesn't join it with the anticipation, I want to screw over my family and my fellow man. They think they're serving their fellow man. And I'm not saying that makes it better, because it's still serving the grand purpose of evil. But the problem is, they don't have the information that you're giving them today. And that's why we're here, to let you all know that the sad part about Veterans Day is not just the people who died for their country, it's the people who died for their country with no understanding as to why. That they're nothing more than collateral damage. That's what they are. You're nothing but another piece of collateral, your damaged goods. And that's why when you go to the military, that's where you get the term dog tag. You go look up what that dog tag represents. When you hear people say, I have a dog tag, you're nothing to them. You're nothing more than waste. And they use you, they abuse you. And I just said it earlier, for those that are just tuning in, black people, starting with you, and white people, all people who serve in this country or whatever it is, every last one of you, but especially you people of color, you all marched so they will let you go to war.
Yeah, it's
I have a problem with that. I had to beg so they would let me go and die. And it makes me so mad, because our innocent children, our children rather, our people, are born over there to serve this purpose for these greedy bankers who only want to continue to push debt, to push control and power, and they're doing it in the name of patriotism, or they're doing it in the name of loving this country. This country is, and listen to me good, the powers that run it, as long as they're in charge, it isn't worth a gun. It is not worth anything. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the sad part of Veterans Day. That's the sad part. And they fund both sides.
That is the key.
Yes.
All sides. If it's two warring parties, If it's two nationalities, against one another, they're funding both sides. If it's three, they're funding three sides. If it's four, they're funding four sides. They're funding all the sides. And sometimes they love to create factions.
They create the beef. In other words, and this is what they've always done. If you're going to loan money to one place, one of the major ways you can ensure you get it back is to start a beef, a riffraff, between another nation. That way, you can send that nation to go and get whatever it is you didn't collect back from it on the back end. This is the oldest trick in the book, and the people still don't have a clue. Most Americans, whatever that is, they don't have a clue that this is going on.
I like to use a couple of big things in world history because they're all the political constructs like capitalism and communism, socialism of all kinds. They're all just these constructs that the bankers create. Even like factions and denominations of religion. They're created to factionalize because it's the old divide and conquer. So we'll talk about the so-called Russian Revolution, which was when the Jewish bankers in New York decided that they were going to further their plan and start Bolshevism as the top of the chain of command in what was Russia then. And what they did was they brought in Leon Trotsky and sent him into Russia with a bunch of money and the United States Marine Corps. And there were lots of factions in that so-called Civil War. There were the ones loyal to the Tsar, and then there were dozens of other factions. And the Bolsheviks, they were the only ones that had the financial backing to actually do anything about it. So then you look at every 5-year plan after that. It was controlled by the Harriman banking interest in particular. It was the puppet master for Stalin. And when one talks about Stalin, then one would have to ask, which Stalin are you talking about? Because there were lots of different Stalins. Stalin was just a cult of personality that was created. But every 5-year plan, it was run by and financed by the Wall Street, London banks, and also it was pushed forward. The factories were built by American corporations like John Deere. They didn't have the ability to do that. So then we'll fast forward just a few years, because this is also in the waning periods of World War I. So then Germany is destroyed, and they build Germany back up. How is that done? They form something called the Bank for International Settlements, which is still the institution that controls world government at this point, as was stated before. So the Bank for International Settlements, it's a Rothschild-controlled Warburg, Schiff, Kuhn-Loeb, Israel, Moses, etc., right? So there's a bunch of them, but the face man was this guy named Jan Urschat, who was the top German banker before, during, and after, the Warburgs were the top bankers, but the top individual administrator of banking was a man named Jan Urschat. And Jan Urschat started the Bank for International Settlements. So then they started financing the war machines of a lot of different nations. So then the alleged war began, and this is just a concocted thing. It's a creation. If the Rothschilds didn't want wars, there wouldn't be wars. There would be other folks that would carry out their tactics, but they're the top. So during this war, the Bank for International Settlements is operating in Basel, Switzerland, which is right on the border of Germany, and it has representatives from every nation: Germany, the United States, Great Britain, Italy, etc. And all it does is run transfers between Berlin and London and New York. So what I'm saying is, these countries and nations are at war. Their people are killing each other. They're destroying their cities. They're laying waste to everything that they work for. And who's financing it? The same individuals, and they are getting each nation into unrepayable debt through the war. And it's not just the money they make through, getting nations into debt, which they'll never be able to pay off, and they never will, because that's the way it's designed. They'll run the guns, the weapons trade. They make lots of money. The human trafficking, all sorts of drug running is done through war zones because there's nothing stopping anything. Anything goes in a war zone. And that's what they want. They want the entire nation to be a war zone. The United States is a war zone. We have video of everything that is controlled in the United States is controlled by the Department of Defense, which is the military headquarters of the 3 city-states that control the world. London, that's the financial capital, also Basel, Switzerland. Then Vatican City, that's where the spiritual magicianry and U.S. in particular, the District of Columbia, because it's 3 different city-states. Those are not. Washington D.C. is not a part of the United States.
No.
The Crown City Center of London, where all the top banking lawyers and bankers, but really the banking lawyers are the heads of the temple, operate, and also Vatican. That's a nation in and of itself. So that's what goes on. America is the sea of souls. If you break down, that's where the word came from. It didn't come from somebody named Amerigo Vespucci, or else we'd be called Vespucci Land, or Amerigo, or America. It's not about that. They're tricking you and they're lying to you. And what we are telling you, it's verified fact. There is nothing that this government does that works in your best interest. When you pay taxes, when you salute the military, when you think that drinking a Budweiser beer and watching a flyover at a football game means that you're patriotic, you are dead wrong. And there are some of us out here that are not going to put up with your ignorance anymore. I will say, just to piggyback on, you're correct. Most of these people are ignorant. They have no idea. Whenever I've been ignorant, it's because I've had no idea and I've been dead wrong. That's why I always constantly ask, prove me wrong. Debunk me. I will thank you. I will thank you when you debunk me. But it's not debunking me. Just debunk the facts that I'm conveying. The United States military is a mercenary arm for international bankers. It doesn't do any good. It doesn't keep anybody free. It enslaves the masses. Look at all the military flyover. They are practicing to shut down the city of Richmond. The United States Marine Corps, the Richmond Police, and the FBI have been practicing for years. It's called urban warfare training. They trained in the city of Richmond to kick your door down and violate the Constitution by shutting down the city.
They're already doing it. We had a call on it.
J. Sergeant Reynolds, they did it, J. Sergeant Reynolds, several weeks ago. They'll shut down your schools, your kids' schools. How many times do they do that? They do it often.
They're practicing. And that's why Ebola had those communities. They had those communities shut off where no one could leave 30 days. Had military forces enforcing it. That's what they're doing. Calling you on the air with Chris Dorsey. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Chris. Also, Chris Dawson, what could we possibly have done to have NATO or whatever powers it be to knock down our Twin Towers? Now hang up and listen to your answer.
Okay, yeah, that's the key to pretty much everything in this era of politics. It all emanates from the false flag attacks of 9/11, and what could have caused that? Real quick, to get into it, there was insurance fraud. The buildings were full of asbestos. The building changed hands from the New York, New Jersey Transit Authority, which doesn't really have any sort of, what is that? It really began and ended when the transfer of the Trade Center complex went into the hands of a man named Lowry and a man named Silverstein. Both are dual Israeli citizens. And as far as what brought them down, well, definitely it was controlled demolition.
Wasn't Silverstein the owner?
He was the owner, and thanks for bringing that back up, because getting back to the insurance fraud aspect, he maxed out the insurance and doubled down on his insurance prior to this. He turned $115 million, and then there's a guy named Frank Lowry who was also more of a silent partner with Silverstein. He turned $115 million investment into a $6 billion payout. And it's 115 million with an M and a 6 billion with a B. Now, there's also, and I'll get to the explosives in just a second, there's also the infinite money that was made by those who short sold every commodity and every world index leading up to the attack, and that was the massive short selling carried out by everyone from banks to the airlines. And as far as what brought them down to controlled demolition, some people think it's thermite. I think that they have found thermite, and that there are Israeli Mossad explosives experts that were living in the Trade Center complex. And how did they get in? Well, who was running the security?
What about the fact they said that there were reports that they counseled the bomb-sniffing dogs?
Anyway,
They took them out of the building just prior to. There was reports that they got rid of all the security regarding bombs and that sort of thing, the dogs sniffing them out or whatever the case is.
Okay.
Just before. We got a caller.
Hank Greenberg, look into the Greenberg family with that, because the Greenberg family and the Bush family, on top of Hank Greenberg being the head of AIG, America International Group, which is the largest reinsurer in the world, and that was involved in the big bailout later on down. Look into Greenberg's connection with the security. Look into Work Walker, who's a cousin of the Bush family, and the security involved in the Trade Center complex, and the airports.
Caller, you on the air. Thank you for tuning in.
I just told him that again. I just wanted to let you know after I asked that question, and he started to answer that his station went out and it just came back on possibly about a minute and a half.
Here we go again with
Okay,
that.
I'll repeat myself very quickly. Okay, so here we go. We're back on the air. They cut us off when we were explaining the backwards and the forwards of the 9/11 false flag attack. Not unusual, not nearly the first time that this has happened to any of us in this room. So here's what happened. The question was, how on earth can two planes knock down 3 buildings? When planes have run into buildings and there have been fires that have burned much longer than the fires, well, the non-existent fires in Building 7, which were just... So basically, what was stated was that this was a false flag attack, that this was insurance fraud, that the property ownership of the Trade Center complex 3 months before the attacks, it could have been 2 months, but check behind me, but months before the attack was transferred from something called the New York, New Jersey Transit Authority to Silverstein and Lowry, both Israeli dual citizens, and that they maxed out their insurance. Their $115 million with an M investment was paid off after the destruction, after the controlled demolition, I should say, of those buildings, turned it from 115 million to 6 billion with a B, and that also was the cleanup money. So buildings were full of asbestos. If they were going to do anything, they were going to have to pay out all those asbestos settlements. They were going to have crews come in and clean up the asbestos, but instead they just demolished the building. Then they had the United States and New York City taxpayers come in, clean up. We all know that it was full of asbestos because all the first responders are dying because there was asbestos flying everywhere, because that's the way they made those buildings. So instead of having to pay anything out, they got nothing but payment back. They 115 million to, investment, $6 billion return, no payment out to any asbestos trust funds, no fee for cleaning up any of the mess that they were coming towards. So that's just a little bit of the insurance fraud. Then we got into the massive short selling of the people who were really making persons, I should say, the Israel, Moses Seif, Rothschild, Warburg, Rockefeller, Lazard, those families who were massively, who own and control the banks, who create the money, were massively shorting every commodity from gold to oil to the airline industry to the banks directly before the 9/11 attacks. Then artificially was built back up. They They made the money on the front end after selling their stock at a high, bought it back using somebody else's money at the low, and you've seen what every stock, commodity, and so forth has done since then. Stock market, I think, is closed today, but yesterday, again, every single day, it's an all-time record high. I don't know how that happens, but every day it's an all-time record high on the stock market. These people made their money back. Then we started getting into, and these are just short aspects of who did it and why they did it and how they did it. The Greenberg family and AIG, the massive insurance fraud, Hank Greenberg involved in running the security and his sons running the security at the Trade Center complex. Rick Walker, cousin of the Bush family, in charge of security at the airlines, and also the fact that it was documented that Israeli Mossad explosives experts were living inside the World Trade Center complex, and that no thermite had been found, and that they were announcing on BBC before the destruction and controlled demolition of the Solomon Brothers building, also known as World Trade Center 7, they announced the collapse of that building while the screen was showing that very same building in the background. But sure enough, 25 minutes later, it is brought down in a controlled demolition, no plane hit it, no visible fires, and on public broadcasting, Lucky Larry Silverstein is quoted saying, "We have seen so much of a loss of life, we just decided to give the order to, quote, pull it." Now what pull it means in construction and demolition terms means